I moved abroad in my 20s, not because I was running from life, but because I wanted more from it. Most people think that if you move abroad, it's because something's wrong. That wasn't my story, and it might not be yours either. I moved to Barcelona in 1996, way before there were roadmaps or influencers showing you how to do it. This isn't a step by step video. It's about why I left and how understanding that might help you decide what you want to do next. In 1996, there was no social media, no Google, no influencers. There was no easy playbook. I didn't have a roadmap. I created one step by step, and every decision made me more confident in myself. At 25, I had graduated college. I had a house. I had a good job. I had a nice car. I had a thriving social life. Everything was good. But I wanted to expand my life. I wasn't trying to escape it because there was nothing to escape from. I was curious about what could be, who I could be if I moved to a different country. I had a desire for a bigger life before settling down. A lot of my friends were settling down, getting married, and while marriage is wonderful, it wasn't something I was interested in at 25. And moving abroad seemed like such a healthy challenge. And I wanted to learn another language. Moving abroad gave me confidence. Well, I already had confidence. So I don't want to lie to you and say that I didn't have any self-esteem or I wasn't self-aware. I was. But I still wanted more. And living abroad, that first time where I moved to Spain in 1996, it boosted my confidence in ways that it wouldn't have been boosted had I stayed in Los Angeles, because it helped me to be comfortable with uncertainty. I had to learn cultural fluency in a country where I didn't speak the language before I got there, and I didn't know anyone before I got there. I had to learn how to figure things out. I had to learn how to rely on myself when things went wrong, and things often did go wrong. Moving abroad and dealing with the uncertainties and all the things that you deal with when you move abroad, it gives you confidence you just simply can't buy. Not enough posts on social media will give you that type of confidence. You learn how to be comfortable being alone. You learn how to have decision making without having to have outside approval. You learn how to trust yourself in unfamiliar spaces. It's a big deal. And I had to ask myself before I left, okay, well, what will this cost me? Not financially. I had to also ask myself, was I willing to leave behind what was serving me well in order to find something that I knew existed, but I wasn't exactly sure what? So being able to let go of what is completely normal, lovely, familiar, and beautiful, but you want something different. I wanted something different. In doing that, in chasing my dream and moving abroad, every decision made me more confident. Yes, it's much easier now to move abroad. Yes, there are absolutely a lot more resources, and that's wonderful. But the fear, doubt, and the feeling of being overwhelmed, that's exactly the same. Having the courage to take a leap into the unknown, because even when you have everything lined up, there's still going to be a lot of things that you simply do not know. And to be able to do that by yourself, that takes courage. And sometimes you may think that you don't have the courage to do that. But if you put your mind to it and you work your plan, you absolutely can do it. If I did it, anybody can do it. And doing it now, choosing to move abroad now, you have so much more support. YouTube, social media groups, it's way easier. I want you to think of moving abroad, think of it as a mindset. Choosing where you want to go, where you're going to work, saving your money, all those things, that's really the easy part. Moving abroad is a mindset. You have to like literally change the way that you are thinking and then implement those changes in order to get the progress that you want. Moving abroad isn't just about geography. It's choosing growth over familiarity, which is very difficult. It is trusting yourself enough to begin the process. I did it at 25 and I did it again at 28. I'm thinking of doing it again at 54. It's never too late. If you are a woman and you're feeling stuck, if you're a woman and you've always dreamt of living in another country, if you are a woman who you just think it might be fun to start over, well, what's stopping you? Think about how you can change your start thinking about moving abroad as more than just, oh, I want to live in this place, or oh, I want to live in this place, because it's more than that. Also, moving abroad has become very trendy. There are a lot of people who are doing it now. But moving abroad, in my opinion, should be more than just wanting to share videos on social media. Moving abroad can truly be a way to expand your horizons, broaden your perspective, help you to embrace a completely different culture, learn how to deal with differences, learn how you unlearn things as well. You learn that the way you've been doing something, it's not the only way to do it. You have to learn patience. Where you move, it's probably going to be very different than what you are accustomed to. You may not speak the language. How do you navigate the city? Going grocery shopping, trying to send well, I'm old, so I still send letters and postcards. But just the simple things that you take for granted in your everyday life become that much more challenging when you're in a different country. But if you have the right mindset and you are going into it thinking, I am ready to handle any challenge that comes my way. This isn't about a flex. This isn't about trying to prove anything to anybody or gain more followers, whatever. It is simply something that you want to do because you want something more. And wanting something more doesn't mean that you aren't satisfied with what you have, that you're not content. It's just you want something different, and that's okay. It's perfectly okay. One of the biggest lessons I learned that I really think I already knew it, but moving to Spain, not speaking the language, not having any friends, completely starting over taught me that I can do anything I put my mind to. And that lesson has served me very well throughout my life. And I don't mean that. I hope that doesn't come across as being arrogant or cocky, because that's not my intention. When you are able to handle difficult situations, and moving overseas can be difficult, it is difficult. When you are completely changing your life and you do it and you live through it and you look back on it, the next time you have another challenge, you're like, well, I lived abroad I lived in that country for a year. I lived abroad for a few years, or I lived over there for a few years. I can do this, I can do that. I lived abroad, I can do this. It just that it's like it reminds me of like Legos, like stacking Legos. So it's like it builds your self-worth, your self-esteem, your confidence. It gives you all of that because you have done something that you set your mind to do and you survived. That's a big deal. Looking back on when I moved abroad, the first time was in 1996. Again, the second time was in 1998 when I moved to France. What I would do differently, I would have stayed in Spain longer. I came back after a year. I was homesick and heartbroken. Those are stories for another day. And so I came home. And once I got home, I was so happy to be home and everything was great. But then after a few months, after I had gotten a teaching position, I was working as a first grade bilingual teacher. And I was like, Why did I come home? I should have stayed. So one thing I will say, if you are thinking of moving abroad and you want to make it permanent, don't come home for the first year. I wouldn't even come home for the first couple of years. Have your family come visit you if that's a possibility. Or if you are going to go home, make sure you get yourself a return ticket. And no matter how, because what's going to happen when you get home, you're going to get love bombed and everything's going to feel good. And the things that aren't right, because moving abroad, there are things that aren't going to be right because that's just how life is. It's not all beautiful and wonderful all the time. You're going to think about those things and you may think, oh, well, why am I going back? Stay in the experience. That is one of the things I wish I had done. I wish I hadn't moved. I wish I had just come home, gotten love bombed, but then gone back. You live and learn. As a woman, we have so much freedom. You can move to a foreign country. You can live abroad and live very well and not be reckless, and you can have a wonderful life. I think gone are the days of a stigma of being a solo traveler, a solo woman traveler going to a different country by herself. If you've ever thought about moving abroad or just changing your life, just know you're not alone. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You make a plan, you stick to the plan, and then you can do it. If I could make the leap back then without Google, without social media, without a roadmap, you absolutely can do it. You can make that bold move now, and you don't have to have it all figured out.